There's a moment in every person's life. Just one. A single breath where everything hangs in the balance. You don't see it coming. You don't hear warning bells. It arrives quietly, like a whisper in the dark. And in that moment, you make a choice. Sometimes that choice leads you toward the light. And sometimes it leads you into the shadows, forever. What I'm about to share with you isn't just a story. It's a mirror. And if you look closely, you might see yourself in it. Picture a small town nestled between forgotten hills. The kind of place where everyone knows your name. But nobody really knows your struggle. In this town lived a young man. Let's call him Thomas. Thomas wasn't special by the world's standards. He had no wealth, no fame, no grand destiny written in the stars. What he had was something far rarer. He had integrity. Every morning, Thomas would wake before dawn, lace up his worn boots, and walk through the cobblestone streets searching for work. Some days, he'd find it. Most days, he wouldn't. But he never complained. He never took shortcuts. He simply kept moving forward, one honest step at a time. If you're enjoying this journey so far, I'd love for you to become part of our community. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and drop a comment telling me what you think. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. Now, let's continue. One particular evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of amber and violet, Thomas found himself walking home empty-handed once again. His stomach growled, his shoulders ached, his heart felt heavy with the weight of another failed day. But then, something unexpected happened. A voice emerged from the gathering dusk, soft, weathered, carrying the weight of many years. "Excuse me, young man. Might you have a moment to spare?" Thomas turned. Standing before him was an elderly figure, draped in a long traveling cloak. Beside the old man sat 3 enormous canvas bags, bulging at the seams. "I can help," Thomas said without hesitation. That was his nature, to see someone in need and simply respond. The old traveler smiled, though his eyes remained unreadable behind the fading light. "I must reach the village beyond these hills before nightfall. I can manage 2 of these bags myself, but the third—" He gestured toward the largest one. "It's quite heavy. Bronze coins, you see. I'll pay you 3 gold pieces for your trouble." 3 gold pieces. For Thomas, that was a fortune. Without another word, he hoisted the bag onto his shoulder. It was crushing. Every muscle in his body protested. But he said nothing. He simply started walking alongside the stranger. As they journeyed together through the dimming landscape, Thomas noticed something peculiar. The old man kept glancing at him. Quick, studying looks, like he was reading a book written in Thomas's face. "He thinks I'll steal it," Thomas thought. The idea stung. Does honesty show so little that even strangers doubt it? But he pushed the thought aside and kept walking. Soon they arrived at a river. The water ran swift and cold, reflecting the first stars of evening. Without waiting, Thomas stepped into the current. It pulled at his legs, tried to knock him down, but he fought against it and made it to the other side. When he turned around, the old man remained on the far bank. "I cannot make this crossing," the traveler called out. "Not with these 2 bags. The current would take me, but perhaps— would you carry 1 more? I'll give you 3 additional gold coins." Thomas waded back through the river. As he reached for the second bag, the old man pulled it away slightly. "Promise me something first. Promise you won't disappear with what I've given you." Thomas felt a flash of anger. "Do you see a thief standing before you?" The old man's expression didn't change. This bag contains silver coins. Trust is a rare currency these days. Then you should know, Thomas said firmly, I don't betray people for metal. I left my last position because they wanted me to falsify records. I walked away from steady pay rather than compromise my principles. Now give me the bag. Something flickered in the old man's eyes. Surprise, perhaps. Or maybe recognition. He handed over the second bag. Thomas crossed the river again, twice as burdened, but his conscience still light as air. Their final obstacle rose before them like a wall of earth and stone. A steep hill, its peak lost in darkness. Thomas began climbing, his legs burning with each step. Halfway up, he realized he was alone. Looking back, he saw the old traveler still at the bottom, motionless. "Why do you wait?" Thomas called down. "I'm too old for such climbs, not with this final bag." "Then I'll carry it too." A long silence stretched between them. "This one contains gold coins," the old man finally said. "True gold. If you take it and run, these old legs could never catch you. You'd vanish into the night, and I'd have no recourse." Thomas felt something crack inside him. Not his integrity, but his patience. "I've told you who I am," he said, his voice echoing across the hillside. "I'm not going to suddenly become someone else for your gold." The old man studied him for what felt like an eternity. Then he handed over the third bag. "Go ahead," he said quietly. "I'll follow slowly. Wait for me on the other side." And so Thomas climbed. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. The weight on his shoulders was immense. His breathing came in ragged gasps. Sweat poured down his face despite the cool night air. And then a thought entered his mind. Just a small one. Barely a whisper. "He can't catch you now." Thomas tried to ignore it, but the thought grew louder. "You're young. You're strong. He's old and slow. By the time he reaches the top, you could be miles away." "No," Thomas said aloud to himself. But another voice answered from somewhere deep inside. 3 bags. Bronze, silver, gold. Enough to change everything. Enough to buy a home. To marry. To never struggle again. He's lived his life. What will he do with this wealth anyway? Step by step, the whispers grew into shouts inside Thomas's head. And then, without fully realizing what he was doing, his walk became a jog. His jog became a run. He was running now, crashing through the darkness, the 3 bags bouncing against his body. He didn't look back. He couldn't. He ran until his lungs felt like they would burst. He ran until he reached his small cottage on the edge of town. Slamming the door behind him, Thomas collapsed onto the floor. His hands shaking, he tore open the first bag. Stones. Just ordinary stones. His heart sank. He ripped open the second bag. More stones. Panic rising, he opened the third bag. Stones. All stones. Every single one. "Why?" he whispered into the empty room. Why would he lie? Then he saw it. A piece of parchment tucked into the bottom of the third bag. With trembling fingers, Thomas unfolded it and began to read. "I am not merely a traveler. I am the ruler of these lands. I have no children, no heir to my throne. I am dying, and I needed to find someone worthy. Someone truly honest. Not just in words, but in the deepest chambers of their heart. Someone who could resist temptation, even when no one was watching. If you had waited for me at the top of that hill, if you had conquered that final whisper in your mind, you would now be standing as my adopted son, the next king. But you ran. And in running, you revealed that even the most honest among us can fall when tested just 1 degree beyond our current strength." Thomas let the paper fall from his hands. In that moment, he understood everything. He had been honest his entire life. Truly, genuinely honest. But honesty isn't just what we do when we're being watched. It's what we do when we're absolutely certain no one will ever know. That night, Thomas learned the most painful lesson of his existence. Our thoughts are not harmless. They're not just abstract ideas floating through consciousness. They're seeds. And every seed we allow to take root eventually grows into the garden of our destiny. This story isn't really about Thomas. It's about all of us. About the moment when temptation arrives wearing reasonable clothes, speaking in our own voice, telling us lies that sound like logic. The moment when we must choose between who we've always been and who we might become, if we just let go. Your thoughts today are shaping your tomorrow. Choose them as carefully as you'd choose the foundation of your home. Because one day, you'll have to live in what you've built. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this story touched something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until we meet again in the next story, remember, guard your thoughts like treasure, because they are.